Let's see what Dan Bongino and Geraldo had to say. Geraldo's like, I'm a fucking Zionist, but this is unacceptable. And Fox News is doing that thing where they're just like, no, you're crazy. You have to say you're a Zionist, and then you also have to say Palestinian babies deserved it. I like that the Fox News coverage of Israel-Palestine has to literally revolve around like, no, you have to justify the murdering of babies. There's no other way. If you don't do that, then you're piece of shit.
And outrageous to me that in all the discussions of what's happening in Israel, the fact that Palestinians are being killed at the rate of 15 or 20 times the death toll among the Israelis, including children, is absolutely...
Geraldo?
65 kids have been murdered by the Israeli occupation. 65. 12 people have been killed within Israeli borders, okay? 12 people. 65 kids. This is not war. This is a massacre. And that is just in the last 11 days. This is just this iteration of Israel's violent retaliation and violent actions against the Palestinians over which they have sovereignty over.
How about the terrorist organization Hamas stop firing those rockets from hospitals and schools and densely populated areas, because they're the ones that fired first. If American City got hurt, it would be all America, all hands on deck.
I mean, that's not exactly a good defense. We are like the world's most bloodthirsty freak genociders, okay? Just because we operate like fucking Nazis do doesn't mean that like that's a metric that we should apply to every instance. Oh, dude, we would fucking literally murder every baby in the region if like an American city was harmed. It's not necessarily an argument that you can make about what the morally right thing to do or the morally correct action to take is in this circumstance. I'm just saying, like, you're only self-reporting that you would literally do more war crimes than what Israel is currently engaging in. That's psychopathic. Like, that is just, you're a fucking sick freak. You are disgusting to me. I don't know. When you say shit like this, you are a disgusting person. What would you do if it was your fucking city that was being bombed? It's like, well, I don't know. I would probably not want to fucking occupy a territory and, you know, displace people and engage in ethnic displacement and then create bombing campaigns.
You blame the people that start the war.
There are dozens of Palestinian children dead. There are dozens of Palestinian children dead.
65, motherfucker. Not even dozens, okay? Whose fault is that, dude? It's the children's. They should have not been in the region. They should have just stepped away from the rocket fire. I can't believe this, dude. When Geraldo Rivera is the fucking mustachioed dipshit making the best arguments on the panel, throw the entire channel away. Throw the entire network away, dude. Don't just throw the show away. Just put the fucking network in the trash where it belongs. Oh my God, dude. Like, this guy is the sane one on the panel. Like that's so bad. I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. I mean, since the fucking bombing campaign started, since this iteration of the genocide got to the point it was at, where it's like, it feels like Republicans are not happy with Democrats and the way that they have literally stopped ceasefire agreements from occurring only to give Israel more time to keep murdering fucking babies within Gazan walls, okay, that they have locked these babies into. They locked these fucking children into, like, straight up, and then secured a massive weapons deal to the tune of nearly $1 billion. And Republicans are still like, nah, fam, it's not enough. Like, what do you want, Sean Hannity? Sean Hannity's like, unless you're literally fucking choking a Palestinian child with your bare hands, don't talk to me about how much you love Israel. Like, it's fucking nuts. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Is that?
Whose fault is that? Ammunition provided to Israel by the United States without even a demand for a ceasefire. I demand a ceasefire. I demand that Israel win the war.
Israel needs to win the war against terrorism.
By what?
And terrorists that are firing rockets at their people. Dan Bongino.
Let's kill all these.
Geraldo, you do this every time. This is such garbage, and I'm really getting sick of it. You play this emotional game with the audience and use your position of responsibility to put out misinformation and
stop
BS.
Attacking
you did it
me,
on the police thing.
Address the issue. Do you have the guts to address the issue and not address?
Whenever people say you're making an emotional argument, first of all, literally, You think it's not an emotional argument to be like, actually, Israel needs to fucking end these bloodthirsty Palestinians who all want to fucking ethnically cleanse Israel or whatever the fuck. That's an emotional argument, okay? Straight up. That's not a logical argument. But whenever these reactionaries say you're making an emotional argument, what they're saying is like, can you please, for a brief moment, shut off that part of your brain that you're supposed to have if you are like, you know, if you have a fully functioning synapses and your brain is like a normal human being brain and not a fucking sociopath. Can you please shut that part off that values human life for a second? So I can try to make an argument about why ethnic cleansing is justifiable. That's all this conversation is. I don't like the argument that you're making because it's actually hurting my position here, because it's making it really hard to defend ethnic cleansing. So please stop making it hard for me to defend ethnic cleansing. Let's not even talk about the actual fucking human toll. Let's not talk about the casualties. Let's not talk about the fucking kids that are being murdered. Let's not talk about the infrastructure that is reduced to rubble all around Gaza, ruining people's lives. Let's not talk about the fact that 75% of Gazans are fucking unemployed, no future whatsoever. Families are being brutally murdered by the occupying, bloodthirsty Israeli regime with no end in sight. Let's just simply say, you know, Israel good, Palestine bad. That's crazy. It's psychotic.
This is not about me. You didn't come on this show to attack me. You came on the show to talk about the issue.
Because again,
do you have a point about the issue?
Using your position of authority.
I'm sick of you, Bongino. I'm sick of you.
That are absolutely outrageous.
Call him a bitch, dude. He's a punk bitch. Blockhead motherfucker, Roblox looking ass, Minecraft looking ass, leak your fucking steroid regime looking ass bitch.
If your point's going to be about me, I'm not going to
Geraldo Rivera does not understand that Hamas doesn't believe in Israel's right to exist. Hamas wants the Jews dead.
Oh my God, this is insanity. Like, this is just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Hamas doesn't believe in Israel's right to exist. Oh, that's interesting. Does fucking Israel believe in Palestinians' right to exist? Because it sure doesn't fucking seem like it. And Hamas is baby shit in comparison to a nuclear power that is using white phosphorus on civilians and purposely destroying the infrastructure, leaving the Palestinians no way to actually rebuild. Okay, you are a fucking block-headed baby if you make this goddamn comparison between a militant arm of what remains as the administrative forces in the world's largest open-air prison. If you make that comparison to a nuclear power that has the world's largest military's backing through and through, you are literally a fucking psychopath. I know a ceasefire is coming.
And he says, the Palestinian children. Of course we care about Palestinian children. You know the way we save Palestinian children? Is we incentivize the terror group Hamas to not fire rockets indiscriminately into Israel.
What about fucking discriminately firing rockets into Gaza on purpose? Oh God, I'm done talking about this. We just have the same conversations over and over again every single fucking day. Saying Hamas fires rockets indiscriminately into Israel, which is why we like literally and purposely and deliberately are defending rockets being fired on significant points of infrastructure that like are necessary for everyday existence of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, is not exactly the argument that you think is going to save you. Okay, it's fucking terrible. Like, that's a terrible argument. If you want to stop Hamas, then fucking stop bombing innocent Palestinians and murdering innocent Palestinians, and then telling everybody that they're just meat shields, because that's pretty good for Hamas, dude. It legitimizes them. It legitimizes their existence. It legitimizes their cause, okay, in the eyes of the Palestinian people. It literally turns it into a justifiable standing military that is violently trying to suppress an occupying force. Why the fuck would the Palestinians not side with Hamas in that respect if they're constantly being fucking shelled? What a great take. Expecting a terrorist to stop attacking you because you are indiscriminately killing civilians? Yeah, let's appeal to the humanity of the one you yourself consider a terrorist. I mean, I consider the IDF to be a terrorist. I consider the IDF to be a terror group, a very successful terror group. And yet I still believe that like they have the capability of fucking doing a ceasefire. So yeah. Like, if you think Hamas is a terror group because they're firing and trying to kill random civilians, which they literally are. There's no two ways about it. We can have a conversation about whether that's justifiable self-defense, an armed act of self-defense from a group of oppressed people that are being occupied. If you want to make a comparison, it's like a fucking, it's like in the pre-abolition era, in the pre-Civil War era, it's like African slaves trying to free themselves by murdering their fucking slave owners. Then yeah, you can make that argument if you want. We can have a conversation about the justifications for it. But ultimately, if you think that like Hamas is a terror cell, and I agree, because they are indiscriminately trying to kill as many Israelis as they can, even though they are too weak to do so because they don't have any fucking rockets. All their rockets are made in goddamn bathtubs. Then the IDF are very good at doing terrorism. Like the IDF is significantly better at terrorism. I mean, think about it. Like we think about Al-Qaeda, right? We look to Al-Qaeda and the act of the egregious, horrific act of terror that they committed on 9/11, hitting the World Trade Center, Pentagon building, all this stuff. I mean, that's like literally a Sunday in the Gaza Strip. It's a Sunday in the Gaza Strip with F-16s like bombing the living fuck out of every important infrastructure building that these people have.
Geraldo, who started this war? Who started firing the rockets? And who's firing them?
Where do you want to go? You want to go back to 1948, 1967?
You know what? I've been to the border with Gaza.
I've covered every war since 1973 until 2012.
Kids
I was there when they put the Iron Dome missile system
in an outdoor playground because they...
Yeah, well, except like, again, everything you say about the plight of Israeli children, which is true. War has casualties. War does create PTSD within kids. I understand that. Absolutely. But like, if you feel some type of way towards the struggles that like Israeli citizens are being subjected to, then you should be losing your fucking mind every day at the thought of how much cruelty Palestinian kids are subjected to. I don't know how you can't see this. I really don't know how you can't. I don't understand how it's like impossible for you to know to recognize this. Unless you just don't believe that Palestinians are human beings, which these guys don't.
10 years.
A Palestinian life
question,
is exactly equal to an Israeli life or an American life.
That's anti-Semitic. Like what Geraldo Rivera is saying would get most motherfuckers canceled like 5 to 10 years ago. I swear to God, dude, it's crazy that he's just like straight up saying it, that like a Palestinian life is equal to an Israeli life. That's wild. That is actually a fucking wild take to have on Fox fucking News of all places, especially because it's an indefensible position. Like the counter to that is indefensible. What are you going to say? No, it's not. That's going to make you look really bad if you say, no, that's not true. Actually, an Israeli life is worth more.
Firing the rockets first. Who do you blame for firing it from densely populated areas?
Which is precisely why Sean Hannity just conveniently ignored that point. Notice how Sean Hannity did not address that at all and completely moved on and is like still like, who fired first? Who fired first? Who fired first? Who fired first? Who fired the rockets first? I don't know. Who fucking attacked Al-Aqsa first? Doesn't seem like it was Palestinians attacking their own mosque. It was the IDF.
This current chapter of this ongoing violence started when Israeli cops raided the Aqsa Mosque in the old city of Jerusalem.
Get out of here!
It is one of the most sacred.
You're just lying? How is that a lie, dude? Why is this news, man? Yo, I don't know how to deal with this. Like you're just like he's just lying and saying you're lying when Geraldo is completely correct.
You don't know what you're talking about.
It is one of the most sacred places in the. Listen to this guy. This guy doesn't. Have you ever been? Have you been at war?
I've been there many times.
Have you?
I'm showing video of me there.
No, but you haven't either. That's the interesting thing.
I have been there multiple times. That tunnel.
Why is this a conversation? Like, what the fuck do these tunnels have to do with anything, bro?
60 feet underground tunnels so that these terrorists can sneak in the dark of the night and kill Israelis and commit acts of terror.
Why don't you ever show the dead Palestinian children? Why don't you ever show the video of the dead Palestinian children?
Because if I ever step foot in Gaza, I'd be dead.
They don't count.
Yeah, the Israelis would mistake your Fred Flintstone ass for a Gazan terrorist or some shit and then blow you up. Yes. If you ever step foot inside of Gaza, you would literally be dead. Why? Because motherfuckers get murdered all the time in Gaza by Israeli forces. So yes, you are right. Sean Hannity is, in a brief moment here, correct. A brief moment of truth and a grain of honesty in Sean Hannity's takes. If I step foot in Gaza, I'd be dead. It's very difficult to survive there. Perhaps that has something to do with tunnels that they're building because there's constantly fucking rocket fire. Again, let me just say something. If your house is on fire, you're not going to have a lot of time to be like, maybe I should buy a new dishwasher. That's the situation in Gaza. If you're constantly under occupation, if you're constantly being fucking shelled, if you're constantly subjected to bombing campaigns, whenever you want to demonstrate peacefully at the fucking border or at the fence that separates you from Israel, you literally get sniped. When that shit happens, yeah, you're probably not going to fucking focus on building a school just so they can blow it up again.
Geraldo,
demand
who
a
controlled
ceasefire.
that Palestinian area
Ceasefire
from 48
now.
to 67?
Ceasefire.
The
No
Jordanians.
American weapons used
We're
to
gonna let it
kill
go.
children.
Ceasefire
Stop it.
so they can kill more Jews?
I demand a
Are you
ceasefire.
nuts?
Oh my God, dude. Dan Bongino is straight up like, we can't do a ceasefire. They're going to kill more Jews during this.
Leave it there.
Right, so they can rearm and kill more Jews.
Like, with what, dude? What a psycho. What a fucking psycho.